Alright, we are back. We are back after a beautiful 4th of July. It was an absolutely beautiful day, beautiful weather, at least over here it was. Absolutely beautiful day. Great day, had a great time. But now, we are back, and it's been a while, and I've really missed it. I've missed doing this so much. Today's Wednesday. It is July 5th, 2017. And I want to ask you guys something. So how did you guys spend your 4th of July? Maybe you went out and had a nice barbecue, hung out with your friends, your family, had some nice food, had a nice time, watched some fireworks. Maybe you stayed at home. Maybe you watched some TV, maybe you played some video games. Hey, you know what? That's fine too. As an American, one of the great things about this country is that we have so many luxuries to enjoy, right? That's a great thing. So while we were all enjoying our 4th of July like normal Americans, like normal people would, having a nice time, enjoying ourselves, While we were doing that, what was CNN doing? CNN was having a nice time. CNN decided that they were going to celebrate the 4th of July by threatening a teenager on the internet. I wish that was an exaggeration, but it's actually not. CNN decided that they were going to celebrate their 4th of July by threatening a teenager on the internet. That's actually just what they did. So, CNN wrote this article here. CNN themselves, they put this article out. My favorite thing about this is that CNN put this on their homepage, right at the top of the homepage. It was like their big headline. Like, they were so proud of this. This just in. CNN threatened a 15-year-old on the internet. Breaking news, because they always put breaking news over everything, literally everything, because they're CNN and they're not real news. They put breaking news over everything. Breaking news. CNN has found the identity of the man who posted edgy Reddit memes. Oh god, I can sleep at night now. I'm so thankful for CNN. What would we do without CNN? What would we do without a nice, vibrant, free press? If we didn't have a vibrant free press, who would go after our 15-year-olds on the internet? I mean, I don't know. Thank God for the free press, am I right? Oh, the press is such a joke. The press is such a joke. So it says here, in CNN's article, patting themselves on the back, they say here, the Reddit user who initially claimed credit for President Donald Trump's tweet that showed Trump tackling CNN issued an apology Tuesday for the video and other offensive content he posted. One day after, CNN identified the man behind the account and attempted to make contact with him. Once again, I mean, thank God for the free press, right? I mean, we've got all these issues going on, we've got unemployment, we've got homelessness, we got an education system that's a mess, we got a healthcare system that's a mess, we got jobs being shipped overseas, but what is CNN? CNN is focusing on the issues that really matter. None of that jobs. What are jobs? They're focusing on the issues that really matter. How would America ever be able to survive if we let madmen like this go free? Madmen posting edgy memes on Reddit. How would we ever survive if we had these absolute menaces to society on Reddit posting their edgy memes? I mean, thank God for CNN for keeping us safe against these absolute demons. Am I right? CNN, what are you guys doing? CNN. They posted this, they're like proud of it. They put it on their front page. They talk about themselves like they're heroes. Guys, literally nobody thinks you're a hero. Is anybody going to look at that and say, oh, look at this. See, those damn people on the right are always saying CNN is fake news? Well, look at this. Look, I mean, CNN's fake news, but they uncovered the identity of the dastardly, edgy meme poster on Reddit. Fake news? What do you mean fake news? I mean, come on. They uncovered the identity of the teenager who posted a GIF on Reddit of Trump punching CNN in the face. What do you mean fake news? Come on now. Guys, at this point, like, saying CNN is fake news at this point, like, it used to be, like, controversial to say that. It used to be like, you know, maybe we be nice to them. Maybe we, you know, give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe we say they're just biased news, not fake news. No, they're fake. CNN's fake news. I mean, come on. The past, like, week or two, CNN has been just self-destructing. I mean, oh my god. I've never seen a company that's gotten such bad press in such a short period of time. And of course, what does the press, what does the rest of the press say about any of this? They say absolutely nothing. I went on and I tried to look, and I could not find any article on any mainstream media source talking about any of the CNN leaks from last week, talking about this CNN, this whole incident from about last night, where they threatened a teenager online. This caused a huge backlash, right? On Twitter, it became #1 on trending, and I haven't checked yet, but I can almost guarantee that they took it down by now. Because Twitter, they always do that. There's a trending hashtag that they don't like, so they just take it down, and they just delete it. They just get rid of it. Well, they don't get rid of it, they get rid of it on trending. So you don't see it on trending anymore. Like, it was a big thing. And it still is a big thing. I woke up and it was still, like, a big thing. And, like, I saw this. I couldn't even believe it, right? I saw this. Like, I saw someone posting a picture, where they were like, oh, look at, CNN threatened to hack a kid online. And I was like, okay, that's gotta be, like, some kind of exaggeration, right? It's gotta be, like, some kind of, like, a joke, right? It's like, there's no way it actually happened. No, that actually happened. Okay, so what happened, right? So CNN, they found this guy's profile, because he made a post where he said pretty much like, actually I think I have the exact words of the post here. Yeah, here it is. After Trump tweeted out his video that he made, or his GIF, he made a post on the Donald subreddit, and he said that he was honored. He was writing, holy shit, I wake up and have my morning coffee, and who retweets my shitpost? The MAGA emperor himself. I'm honored. And then CNN goes on to explain, MAGA is an acronym for the president's campaign slogan, Make America Great Again. It just goes to show that CNN, like, they know their demographic, right? CNN knows that their demographic is, like, the kind of person who, like, doesn't really follow news, just kind of, like, tunes in, because, like, oh yeah, CNN, like, the default network, right? That's like the standard, generic news network. So yeah, CNN, fine. Like, CNN's audience, like, people who don't really care about anything, so they have to explain what MAGA means. MAGA is the acronym for the president's campaign slogan, Make America Great Again. So embarrassing. CNN is so embarrassing. This whole article is the most embarrassing thing I've ever read in my life. Because they go on to talk about how the posts were threatening journalists and how they put them in danger. Oh my god. I can't get enough. And I totally missed it. I wasn't on. I think it was it Thursday night? Or no, I think it was over the weekend that Trump tweeted out his little video of taking down CNN. So I didn't get to ever cover it. This is my first time covering it now. But oh my god. I wish I was on to cover it, because honestly, oh my god, the press. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, it reminded me of the campaign. It was like the campaign all over again. Because here's what I always say. I always say that whenever you have the press, and whenever you have them, right, getting so angry and having such universal backlash like they did after Trump put out his little video, That's how you know he's doing something right. If you have such universal backlash from the entire media, the entire establishment, where of course you had Paul Ryan with no spine, no backbone, nothing. He comes out and gives his little weak statement that he always does, right? He was like, "Oh, I don't believe that the president was appropriate in this matter. I believe that it breached decorum and it was inappropriate, and I believe that he was wrong, and I believe that it was a wrong thing to do." You like me now yet? You like me yet? And that's the thing, right? Because Republicans in Congress, right? Their mindset is that they gotta make the press like them. Guys, the press will never, ever like you. That's the thing. Like, no amount of bending over for them is going to ever make them like you. I mean, you always see it whenever you have Republicans come out and they do their weak little statements about, "Oh, I believe that the president was inappropriate in his actions, and I believe that he was behaving very inappropriate." They sound like school teachers. They sound like school principals, elementary school principals. Like, "Oh, I believe that the president was behaving inappropriately and in a manner that was very disgraceful to our fine establishment." They give these garbage statements, right? And they sound like school teachers, right? They're like scolding the behavior of the president, like they're fucking middle school, English teachers. It's so embarrassing. And then, like, they think in their minds, like, "Oh yeah, this is how we get the bipartisan support from the liberals, right? If we say this, the liberals are gonna love us, right?" You always see it on Twitter, right? If you go to like Lindsey Graham's Twitter, Lindsey Graham, by the way, is an absolute embarrassment. He had a presidential campaign where he embarrassed himself. He endorsed Ted Cruz where he embarrassed himself. He's been wrong the entire time. He's been wrong forever. He's never gotten anything right. He endorsed Ted Cruz. I mean, he ran his own campaign, which is an embarrassment and a disaster. And now he's making all these predictions about how they're using the same predictions from 2 years ago, where they said, "Oh, Trump is going to bring down, he's going to ruin the party. He's going to sully the image of the party to the American people, right? He's going to make us lose the election. He's going to make us lose for a generation." Except he didn't do that. He did the opposite. With him, you guys won everything. But no. In their mind, they still think. They believe what the media says. They believe the media's phony polls. They don't care about, "Oh yeah, like, he actually won the election," right? Like, that was their whole thing. Like, "Oh, he's never gonna win," right? Obviously. He's not gonna win. And they moved on, right? Before the election even happened, they moved on from "he's gonna lose" to, "Oh, he's gonna cost us the Congress as well. He's gonna cost us the Senate and the House." So they moved on. But then he won, and then they kept Congress. So they were proven wrong, but they didn't stop. They don't care. They keep on making the exact same predictions. They don't care. Like, guys, your predictions were way off. Stop making the same ones. That's the thing with the media, where they tout these phony poll numbers, right? Like, I saw an article from somewhere, God knows where, right? I mean, they're all the same. I get them mixed up because they're all the same. MSNBC, CNN, NY Times, they're all the same. There's no difference between any of them. So I get them mixed up all the time. But there was an article somewhere, God knows where, and it was like, "Oh, support for president's impeachment has surpassed his approval rating," or something like that, for the first time after his CNN tweet. Yeah, of course, right? Everyone decided that because of a CNN tweet, they're gonna impeach him, right? Guys, they're so out of touch, and there's so much spin. There's these polls. First of all, they barely ever release their methods of how they got the polls, but when they do, you look at them, and you immediately know, oh, so that's why the polls are skewed. Because it's like 50% Democrats, like 32% Republicans, like, they're always so skewed. There's always so much oversampling going on. They're like, how am I going to believe any of these polls? people don't care. People don't look at they don't look at the sampling. They don't look at the methods. They just look at the polls. Look at the numbers. They say, oh, look at the numbers say that we're going to lose. No, but you're not, though, because the numbers, if you look at the methods and the samples, there's oversampling all over the place. So I'm not gonna believe any of these poll numbers. Anyone who believes these poll numbers they just don't know. They're just ignorant. They're just ignorant. I mean, come on. I mean, they've been wrong every step of the way. I mean, absolutely every step of the way. Even in like Georgia, where the polls, they all said in the polls, who was it? I forgot him already because he's so irrelevant. Ossoff or what? Ossoff? Yeah, Ossoff. They were like, oh, he's gotta. It's like neck and neck, right? He's gonna win, or it was either neck and neck, or he had the advantage, right? It was never Handel had the advantage, but then Handel won, of course, because they're so wrong with their polls, and then people forget. Like, they say that, like, oh, she won, but it wasn't as big of a margin as they wanted it to be. You want to know why that is? Because Democrats, they put so much money into this race that it was the most expensive congressional race to date. The most expensive one. And the reason is so Democrats, they poured so much money into this for their guy Ossoff. And he still lost. So people say, oh, but he didn't lose in a big of a margin as, we expected him to. Well, no, that's because they put in so much money and they put in so much effort. That was like their big election, right? That was like where they were going to get their big win, was with Ossoff. And then they didn't get it because they put so much money into it, but they don't understand that no amount of money is going to make us hate them less. They don't seem to get that, like, big money doesn't really have an effect anymore when it comes to, like, campaigns, right? I mean, it still does. It still has too big of an effect, and I would rather it had no effect. But it doesn't have an effect like it does anymore. Like, people don't, like, TV ads don't work as well as, like, a tweet. Like, that's why Trump was so good, because he knew how to use social media, and he still does. He still does, and the media hates him for it. They hate that he uses Twitter, because it lets him get his message out directly. In the past, right, you would have the presidents, and they would have to give, like, a formal statement, and then the media would have to report that statement. Excuse me. So the media would have to report their statement. So then they would be able to add their own spin on it, like whatever they wanted to say. So that's why Trump's Twitter is so powerful. And I mean, you've seen it lately with between the CNN tweet and the what was it? The Morning Joe tweet, which was hilarious, by the way. I mean, I have no sympathy for Mika or Micah, however you pronounce it. I have no sympathy for her at all. Sorry, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna be so vicious. You're gonna be so vicious. You're going to go after him relentlessly, and then you're gonna go and play the victim when he fights back. Sorry, no sympathy whatsoever. Mika, get over yourself. Like, they had, like, the Morning Joe hosts, they had, like, their 15 minutes of fame, right? Because they're so irrelevant. So this story came out, and they had, like, the opportunity to become, like, major players. They flunked it. They totally flunked it. They did nothing. They gave their standard little, like, phony outrage, like they always do. But that was about it. I mean, Morning Joe is the worst. I mean, when it comes to the phony outrage, Morning Joe is as bad as it gets. I genuinely feel bad for anyone who watches Morning Joe in the morning. Because, like, how can you do that to yourself? Like, when I wake up, I want to, see something good, right? So when I wake up, I check my messages to, like, see, my friends and everyone, check my messages, have a nice conversation, get some coffee. That's how I spend my morning. People who watch Morning Joe, they wake up and they get to watch like two people having a nervous breakdown on TV every morning. I mean, Morning Joe is just like, I tuned into Morning Joe like a month or two ago, and immediately I just saw everyone on the show just crying, and I just turned it off. Like, how can you watch that in the morning? Like they were just crying. I don't even know why, they were just crying. So I just turned the show off. Like, honestly, and like whenever you see a clip from Morning Joe where they're like reading out a Trump tweet, and then you see Joe in the background with like his eyes closed and his hands on his face, just like moaning. Oh God. Oh my God. Oh no. Oh Jesus. Like, how can you watch that in the morning and not hate yourself? I'm sorry. I mean, anyone who watches Morning Joe, I feel bad for you. Every morning I pray for the people who watch Morning Joe in the morning, because honestly, I just feel bad for them. They must have a very depressing life. You must have a very, very sad life if you watch Morning Joe in the morning, because it's just such a depressing show. I mean, it's just moaning and crying all the time. I don't get it. I don't get the appeal of Morning Joe. Anyway, I was talking about CNN, wasn't I? I sort of went off a little bit there. I always do that. But yeah. But getting back to the CNN story, right? I mean, how sad is it? How sad is it that they took the time to go after a 15-year-old online? It said here, right? Here's something from the article. This is the worst part of the whole thing. I mean, this is just the worst, okay? This is a quote. This is a direct quote. CNN said this. It says here, CNN is not publishing Han Asshole Solo, that's his username on Reddit, his name because he is a private citizen who has issued an extensive statement of apology, showed his remorse by saying he has taken down all of his offending posts, and because he said he is not going to repeat this ugly behavior on social media again. In addition, he said his statement could serve as an example to others to others not to do the same. Now, get ready for this. This is the worst part. CNN reserves the right to publish his identity should any of that change. So you know what CNN is saying here, right? CNN is saying that, like, they got this kid's identity, and they decided to, like, keep it private because he put out an apology. But then they say, oh, but if he goes back to this ugly behavior, then we will post his identity. CNN, what are you guys doing? It's bad enough that you threaten the kid. You're threatening the kid in your article. CNN reserves the right to publish his identity. Who does that? Who does that? I don't understand. Who does that? Who does that? Like, I get called a Russian agent a lot. Am I gonna go and threaten the people who say that about me? Am I gonna go and find out their personal information and then say to them, hey, if you don't apologize, I'm gonna put your name, I'm gonna put all of your personal information on my show. Alright, am I gonna say that? CNN is saying that in the article. They're saying, oh yeah, we'll publish his information if he takes down his apology or goes back to ugly behavior. That's the quote, ugly behavior. Like I said, they sound like school teachers. They seriously do. I don't get it. They sound like vice principals. You know those like really whiny, bitchy like female ones that like are always fucking like the strictest ones out there? They sound like strict middle school principals. Cause you know how they always do that. They stalk their students on social media, and they look for cyberbullying, also known as dissent. They looked for that, and ugly behavior, and he showed remorse, and he had an extensive statement of apology. Like, I love how they say that as if it's genuine. Like, it's a genuine apology. No, you threatened him into apologizing. I mean, CNN. So, what we've had from CNN for the past week or so, we've had the Scaramucci story, where they said that the Trump aide, Scaramucci, is a Russian agent, and it turns out that there was no investigation to begin with. He wasn't even being investigated. So they had to take that down. Then there were the leaks, the videos. There was the producer being caught saying that there was no evidence of Russia collusion or interference. Then you had the Van Jones saying the Russia is a, quote, nothing burger, which is I hate that term so much, but he said it, and it means that there was nothing there. He means that there is no proof, there is no substance, it's just a thing that they say. There's no there. Then there was the video of, who was it? Someone was caught from CNN, caught on video saying that the American people are something like dumb as hell, something like that. Caught on video saying that. I mean, they hate you. I mean, honestly, anyone who's watching this, like, CNN hates you. I hope you know that. Like, unless you're on the left, right? If you're on the left, or you're a liberal watching this, they don't hate you that much. But if you're on the right, at all, CNN hates you. CNN despises you. This is how they treat people online. They find their personal information and threaten to post it if they post edgy memes about CNN again. I mean, think about it. This guy, all he did was put out a video of CNN, of Trump at WrestleMania punching the face of a guy, and they put CNN logo over the guy's face. So that's all he did. Guys, there is, like, CNN. He did that. That's pretty vanilla when it comes to the anti-CNN memes you'll find online. I mean, there is CNN as ISIS, there's all this stuff, right? I saw a picture of Trump holding the head of, like, a CNN anchor, the bloody head, like, because of the Kathy Griffin thing, holding the bloody head of a CNN anchor, and I saw that picture, and I saved it, and I set it as my Twitter background because it's just too good. But, like, they're gonna freak out this much over that, you know, generic vanilla. Like, it was just CNN getting punched. It was WrestleMania. I mean, come on, it's WWE. You're gonna go and flip out about that? Oh my god. I mean, relax. I mean, the more I think about this whole story, right, the more it just angers me, right? Because think about it. I mean, here you have this guy, this poor guy, right? 15-year-old kid, just trying to enjoy his 4th of July. It was on the 4th of July that they threatened him, and he had to just think of how proud he must have been, how happy he must have been that his post was posted again by the president. I mean, can you imagine? Could you imagine that feeling? So he was 15. He must have been so happy. And then CNN comes and they call him up and they threaten him. So he takes down all of his posts and he apologizes. Guys, the apology was not a genuine one. You scared him into giving an apology. He's a 15-year-old kid. Oh my god. I mean, the more I think about it, the more I just get angry with it, because it's like, you're gonna go after a 15-year-old kid. And I think the worst part about this, right, is that we have all this backlash. We have all of this grassroots, whatever the hell that is, right? We have all this grassroots backlash against CNN. We have so many people going out and going after CNN and saying, even on the left, even people on the left are saying, I can't defend that. I can't defend you guys doing that. I'm sorry, I cannot defend that anymore. You have people on the left saying that, and yet the mainstream media is totally silent. Totally silent. I tried to look for an article talking about this this morning when I was preparing for the show, right? I couldn't find a single thing. I couldn't find a single article anywhere talking about this except for on CNN itself. I couldn't find anyone saying anything about this. Just think about how severe the backlash would be. Think about how much this would be intensified if Donald Trump tweeted about this. And he might do that too, because it's still very early. Right? This story came out very late last night, and now it's only the morning after. So we might see a tweet from Donald Trump about this, and I really hope there is, because this needs more attention. This is a big story that right now is getting almost no coverage. And I just want to end right now. I just want to say this, right? Remember the Scalise shooting, which is now like completely, like no egg is like over now. It's like old news now. It like just happened, but people have forgotten about it because you know what? Because it's a Republican. If it was a Democrat, just imagine if the roles were reversed and it was a Democrat that got shot. It would still be news, but no. It was a Republican. So no, it's not news. It's over now. It's old news. But remember that Scalise shooting, and how everyone said, I mean not everyone, but a lot of people on the right, including me, we said that this is the result of the Democrats' rhetoric, and the media's rhetoric. And the media, they laughed it off. They said, oh, our rhetoric is causing violence. No way, no chance. Definitely not, right? They dismissed the notion so fast. They said, come on, there's no way. Inciting violence, no, not us, no way. They're saying the same thing about that Trump tweet. They say that him punching the CNN logo is inciting violence against journalists. Now, that speaks for itself, right? But I just want to end with this, right? CNN, you guys are not journalists. You're not. CNN is like a glorified tabloid, and the people who work at CNN, they're not journalists. They're the lowest form of life out there. So-called journalists at CNN, the lowest, scummiest form of life out there. The most scummy people you'll ever find in your entire life. The absolute worst, just most disgusting people work at CNN. You're not journalists. You're not a news website. You're a tabloid. You're like TMZ. You're like MTV. CNN, stop. CNN, just give up. Everyone knows now. Everyone sees through all your lies. Everyone sees through your agenda. They see through your spin. So CNN, just admit it. You're not a news outlet. Your so-called journalists are not real people. They're disgusting, vile creatures. So just admit it. Just give it up. I mean, CNN, just admit, or at least just apologize. Do something. But do not call yourselves news, because you're not. So, I spent most of my time talking about that, because that was just the biggest story that I could think of today. But I also want to move into some policy. I want to get into Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon is our guy. I mean, that's pretty much just... Steve Bannon is our guy in the White House right now. And there is a whole bunch of backlash against him. I'll get into that in a little bit. But, let's start with his plan, his tax plan. So, let's go ahead and move in. So, Steve Bannon is sort of going against Republican orthodoxy now by proposing a tax hike on the wealthiest Americans. So, Fox News reporting here says here, President Trump's chief strategist Steve Bannon is pushing for a tax increase on the very wealthiest Americans, an administration source confirmed to Fox News. The source said Bannon wants the top tax bracket to have a 4 in front of it. The current top income tax bracket right now is taxed at 39.6%. The source said Bannon wants higher taxes on the wealthiest earners in order to give a bigger tax break for the middle class and investments. So, Steve Bannon is pretty much saying that we need higher taxes on the wealthy, which is totally reasonable, right? Totally reasonable. And I would totally agree on that, because we need it if we want to be able to afford anything. If we want to be able to afford, all of these ambitious programs that we want. We want, education reform. We want healthcare reform. We want infrastructure. We want jobs. We want to stop all these garbage trade deals. But we need money for all this stuff. And in order to get money, well, we have to raise taxes. And who are we going to raise taxes on? Raise taxes on the wealthiest, because they're the ones who got us in this mess, right? Like, they're the one. Like, I'm so sick of all these so-called right-wingers who are so sympathetic to the rich people. Because, guys, you're supporting people who hate you. Guys, this idea that corporate America is super conservative and super right-wing is just a lie. If you look at, the West Coast, and even the East Coast, I mean, everyone, all the elites, all the upper classes, all the rich people that the Democrats, they claim to be so against, they're all Democrats. You ever notice that? They always talk about getting money out of politics, right? And I would agree, but I really doubt that they're serious about that. You know why? Because if you actually look at the numbers, right? They like to spin it and make it seem like it's Republicans that get more money. But no, Democrats get way more money from big money donors than Republicans do. Democrats get so much money from these big money donors that they claim to hate. They always say that they hate the big money donors and the special interests and the lobbyists. They claim to hate them, but they take in way more money from them than anybody else. Seems a little off. Seems a little bit off. But they claim to hate them. That's why. This is why the so-called populist left, it will never take off. Guys, you're not populist if you and the elites agree on everything. Guys, you want to know why Democrats became so pro-gay marriage randomly, out of nowhere? Because of big money. You just take a look at the numbers. Take a look at where Democrats they were getting their money from, and how all of a sudden they started getting money from all these pro-gay, socially liberal companies. And all of a sudden, left, right, and center, you had all these random epiphanies. How coincidental, how amazingly convenient. You had all these epiphanies. Everyone in the party suddenly said, you know what? All of a sudden, I'm for gay marriage now. Just because, not because I got all the money from, all the donors. No. I just had a random, sudden, very convenient epiphany at this very convenient time. No, they're so corrupt. They like, social liberalism is such a scam. It's like they try and spin it as being anti-elitist. No, that is being elitist. Like, that's not. You cannot be left-wing and populist. It's just not possible. Sorry, I know that there are some people on the left who are like grassroots, but guys, I don't care where you come from on the left. Your opinions are the exact same opinions as all the elite, rich kids in California and all the old elites in New York City. Just because you're not getting big money doesn't mean that you're still not elitist, because you are, right? That's why I hate seeing all these people, all these Justice Democrats, which, by the way, they call themselves so populist. They were founded by the Young Turks. You're gonna tell me that the Young Turks is populist? Guys, one of the main hosts of the Young Turks went on air and went on an epic rant about how she's a better person than people who make Harambe memes. This was about a year ago, and I totally forget what the name was. Anna? No, that's Anna Navarro. Anna Navarro was an absolute train wreck. But who is it? It's because you have like Cenk, and then you have like his co-host, that woman. Yeah, that woman. She went on this long rant about how she's morally superior to people who make Harambe memes. She went on this long rant. She literally said, like, quote, "I'm effing better than you." That was a direct quote. She said, "I'm better than you." She says, "You are garbage." She went on this long rant. You're gonna call her a populist? She's talking down to people like that. Oh my god. And then remember Alex Jones? When he went on their show at the convention about, last year? And then Cenk tried to punch him. Jimmy Dore spit in his face. The woman called him fat and started yelling at him from off stage. These guys are not populists. These guys are elitists. They're the biggest elitists out there. Look at where they get their money from. Don't just say, oh, they're populist because, they're on YouTube, right? So, duh, obviously they're populist, right? No, they're on YouTube, but look at where they're getting their money from. YouTube officially endorsed them. No one knows this, but YouTube officially endorsed the Young Turks as like the official news network of YouTube. Take a look at you go on YouTube, right? Anytime you find an ad, anytime you find a YouTube Red ad, which I don't think they really have anymore, I think they've moved on to YouTube TV, but there was an old YouTube Red ad that showed people watching the Young Turks on their phone. Isn't that funny? Would you ever see a video, an ad from YouTube of people watching, I don't know, InfoWars? So these guys are not populist. They're loved by the establishment. And do not tell me that Google is not the establishment. Don't even go there. Don't pull that Bill Maher. Bill Maher, when he was in a debate about corporations and money in politics, and he said, "Oh, you Republicans, you're all so owned by your big donors and stuff like that." And then the guy went back and he said, "Yeah, but so are you." And then Bill Maher said, "Oh yeah, but my corporations are different than yours." That's not a defense. There's no just because you get money from different corporations doesn't mean that you're not corrupt, that you're not elitist as anything. I mean, it's such a weak defense. Such a weak defense. And now we have Steve Bannon coming out and saying we need a tax hike on the wealthiest Americans. And then you know what I saw? I was trying to find some articles on this, right? So I googled Bannon. The first thing I saw was an article saying, "Ooh, is Steve Bannon trying to get Trump impeached?" So he's caused backlash already. And It's a valiant effort by Steve Bannon, but I doubt that Republicans in Congress will let him do this at all. I really doubt it. You know, I would love if he could, and he could pass through these tax hikes on the wealthiest Americans, but with Congress the way it is now, I really, really doubt it. And it's sad to say, but he's just hated by the elite so much. They probably won't let him do it unless Trump comes out and helps him. That would be something different entirely, and I hope he does. But until then, I have my doubts. Alright. So I wanna end here with going back to the Russia scam. It's a scam, that's what it is. So going back to the Russia scam, and Democrats are just completely jumping the shark. I mean, in a major way. Democrats just need to stop. Democrats and CNN are on the same level right now. They need to stop. But let's just go ahead. Let's just get right into it. So, Politico magazine has an interesting little article right here, and it's titled, "Democrats, did Americans help Russia hack the election? Did Americans help Russia hack the election? Americans." So now they're moving into treason. So they went from interference to collusion to interference to meddling to hacking to collusion to interfere, and then they just keep going back and forth, and now they're moving on to treason. It's such a rabbit hole, and there's no substance. Of course, there's never been any substance. It says here in the article, right? It says here, no public evidence has surfaced. No, that's not a thing. You can't just say, oh, there's no public evidence, but hey, maybe there's private evidence. No, private evidence isn't a thing. You can't just say that. You can't just say, oh, we need evidence? Well, we can't show you any, but we have some. Trust us. No, I don't trust you. I'm sorry. You're the Democratic Party, and you're the FBI. You're the deep state. I'm gonna trust you? No, you need to show evidence, guys. It's been 2 years. It's been 2 years since they've been doing this whole Russia investigation scam. It's been 2 years, and every step of the way, they've said, "Oh, we can't show the evidence right now. We will be able to later on, but we can't right now." It's been 2 years, guys. When does the time come that you can show your evidence? And you know what's like with all these leaks? How come no one's leaking this so-called evidence? We have all these leaks about, oh, James Comey's memos. Oh, here's a transcript of a phone conversation. Oh, leaks. All these leaks. How come we have all these leaks, and yet not one of them is leaking the actual evidence that they claim to have about Russia? They say they have evidence. They claim they have evidence. They say, oh, we just can't show it right now. Okay. But how come there's been no leaks? How come? So, I don't believe they have any evidence. Or I believe that they have something, but it's still just, there's no substance. Like the report they came out with, way, like a long time ago. Well, like, by a long time ago, I mean months ago. But I mean, maybe it was like December, where people were asking, okay, FBI, CIA, where is your proof that Russia meddled in the election? Where's your proof? And they went, oh, you want proof? Okay, here's your proof. So they released a little document, and the document was just stating motive. No, you need motive, you need means, and then you need the actual evidence itself. You just said motive. You said, oh yeah, Trump and, they said, yeah, Putin and Hillary, they don't like each other, and, Russia has computers, and And yeah, and Trump said Putin's a good guy, so duh, put it together. I mean, come on, put it together. Obviously, right? Like, no, that's not evidence. What is that? They spent like half the document just bashing RT for no reason. RT is to Russia what BBC is to Britain. They always say, "Oh, RT, Kremlin state propaganda website, state-run media." Yeah, so is BBC. You gonna go after BBC? No, because they're mostly independent. They're just technically owned by the government. Are you gonna go after BBC and say, "Oh, come on"? They all consider BBC to be a reliable source, and so do I. Are they gonna now say, "Oh, BBC, British state propaganda website, all that crown propaganda, we don't want any of that here"? No, no one says that, because BBC is a reliable, normal, it's just a standard news site, right? And so is RT. The people who go after RT and say, "Oh, RT is a Kremlin propaganda website," have probably never been on RT. Like, RT is not this Russian propaganda. I mean, sure, there's a pro-government bias, but there's a pro-government bias with BBC as well, because they're government-owned. So obviously, they're going to have a bias. But if you want to go after RT, well, then be consistent and go after BBC too, because it's the same thing. But no, they go after RT, and they leave BBC alone. Why? Because they just hate Russia. And I don't know, I mean, I'd say I don't know why. I kind of do. I have an idea as to why. Because all these people, I've said it before, they grew up in like the 1980s and the 70s, where the Cold War was going on, and like Russia was like our biggest threat. And like they're all so old and like out of touch that they don't really understand that like the Cold War's over. They don't really get it. They don't really understand that. So they say the Russian dictator, the Putin regime. No, Putin is democratically elected. You don't like he's an elected official. Putin regime. Get that out of it. Come on. These guys, they're not serious. It's like they're writing a book. They're writing like a some sort of like political thriller novel about Russia and America. It's all like intrigue and we got subversion here. We've got all this, spies and agents, Russian agents. Oh, it's so cool, right? They're making this narrative. It's like a movie plot. None of it's true. You can't prove any of it. Oh my god, it's so ridiculous. And you know what I've realized? This is something that's disturbed me in a major way. You guys know Keith Olbermann? Keith Olbermann is a guy who does a YouTube show. He used to work for MSNBC. I don't know if he left or if he got fired. I don't know how he ended up leaving MSNBC. But now he has a YouTube show called The Resistance. It used to be called The Closer. Now this is the weirdest thing, right? Keith Olbermann's show, The Resistance, it seems to be an indicator of what will the mainstream narrative be in a few months. I've noticed this, right? So, you can go back to when the show first started, back in November, right? He used to have a show, The Closer. That was his show during the election. The election ended, and Trump won, and he changed it to the Resistance. It was the same format, same style, but he just changed the name. But think about that. He was saying that in November, the Resistance. The Resistance as a movement, as an organization, wasn't a thing until like January, or like February. So that came off to me as very strange, that he had his show name, and that became the name of the Democrats, their so-called movement. That became their name, and that was his show's name. Isn't that odd? Isn't that strange? And then I noticed that, like, whatever he would say on his show, at the time, right, it would be considered to be, like, crazy, right? Like, back then, he was the first one to ever say, Russia hacked the election. And back then, that was, like, crazy talk, right? Like, oh my god, Russia hacked the election? Are you serious? But then, months later, it became the standard liberal talking point. That became normal to them. Then, Keith Olbermann, before anyone said anything, he started to talk about collusion. Before anyone else. And everyone said, oh, collusion? Come on now. Come on, Keith. Oh, come on, you're crazy. Oh, collusion? Come on. Keith, come on, you're crazy. And then, the liberal narrative became collusion. Then, Keith started talking about interference, or what was it? Obstruction of justice. He started talking about obstruction. And then everyone said, "Oh, come on, Keith, obstruction. Come on, Keith, stay real. Come on, Keith, obstruction. No way, you're crazy." And then, obstruction became the liberal talking point. And then, his talking point became, Trump is mentally unstable, mentally unfit to hold office. And everyone said, oh, come on. I mean, that's just too far. I mean, come on. Mentally unfit to hold office? Come on. Too far. Just calm down. Come on, Keith. That's just going too far. That's just low. And now we have Democrats talking about invoking the 25th Amendment because he's mentally unstable and mentally unfit to hold office. It seems to, like, it always seems to go, like, from Keith Olbermann to Maxine Waters to the New York Times and then to the mainstream. That seems to be the cycle. It's very, very odd. Because this whole Russia thing was a Keith Olbermann talking point. Right? At first it was a Hillary campaign talking point. Where she said it, like, during the debates and stuff like that. By the way, I love how, like, this whole thing, you have to remember, like, this is a Hillary campaign talking point. You know how this started? This was a deflection from Hillary's emails, the leaked emails. This was their way of deflecting. Just think about it. We had all these emails leak. And yet, they've never been a mainstream thing. The emails, the leaked emails. We never got to look into them. There was never a mainstream conversation about the content of the emails. They leaked, and then Hillary's defense was, oh, Russia. And then what happened? The media started going Russia. So it's been so long now. It's been like over a year now. And we still haven't had any major national conversation about the content of the emails. And yet we're still talking about her deflection from the content of the emails. I mean, how sad. They say, right, in this article here by Politico magazine, they suggest that these email leaks were meant to be a distraction from the Access Hollywood tapes. Are you guys actually saying now that these emails where there's policy, substance, and actual facts, and actual indications about how she will govern and about what she actually believes, you're saying that Trump talking about sex on tape with his friend 10 years ago is more important than the policy substance of the Hillary leaked emails? Are they saying that? And it's so sad because this happened again last week, where we had Kate's Law, Kate's Law passed in Congress, and the media, there was no coverage at all of this policy that was being passed in Congress. No coverage. You know what they were covering? They were covering Trump's Morning Joe tweet. And then there was a tweet from some CNN anchor. And it was the smuggest, most snarky thing I've ever seen in my life. See, Bill O'Reilly tweeted out, he was like, I wonder why, he was like, all these news people, right? No one in the media is covering Kate's Law tonight. I wonder why. And then some snarky, smug CNN anchor replied to him and said, yeah, I wonder why. Duh, obviously it's because of these Morning Joe tweets, right? Duh. Oh my god, they're saying that they can't cover policy because these tweets are more important. Guys, they're fake news. The mainstream media, it's just like a tabloid. It's like celebrity news. Oh my god, it's so embarrassing. He tweeted that out like he was proud of it. Like, oh yeah, my network is the best network. You know why? Because we cover the real issues. We don't cover any of that Kate's Law. We don't cover any of that policy. No. We cover the real issues that matter. We cover Trump saying that Mika from Morning Joe had a facelift. That's our coverage. Aren't we so great? No, you're not great. You're awful. You're embarrassing. The whole mainstream media is just completely embarrassing. And honestly, at this point, we should start taking action. And we should have CNN's press credentials pulled. Because I don't want to see them anymore. I don't want to see any of these disgusting news outlets being taken seriously anymore by anyone. Alright. That's about all I had to say. I had a bunch of stuff here. I didn't even want to talk about Russia, because there's more to talk about. There's more important things than Russia. Let's be honest. I mean, Russia is old news at this point. We all know about their agenda with Russia. We all know about it. So, at this point, it's old news. They think it's not old news. They still think that it's a big thing. It's not a big thing. We all see through it, so just give it up. But anyway, other than that, I'm going to go ahead and stop right there. So, thank you all guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow.